So we got some corn on the cob here. The local stuff isn't in yet. This is from southern Ontario. That's close enough for me at the moment because I want some. We're going to soak it in a bucket and then grill it on the grill. So basically when you're putting it in the bucket, you pull off all of these things. These things you want to pull them off because when you get that on the grill, that will ignite once it dries out, even after soaking. So you pull off that, pull out as much of the hair as you can, and sometimes if you get the ones with the great big bottom part on there, you can remove that too. They don't always have that, but you can remove that bottom part, and you want to keep it completely in its husk. It provides for better cooking on the grill. I hate it when people go to the supermarket or the market and they're pulling the corn apart to look at it, and then they put it back in. They don't take that ear. Well, you just ruined that ear of corn for me there, buddy. Please don't do that. You know what? In the years that I've been doing corn like this, I never look inside, and I've probably only had like 1 or 2 ears of corn that weren't suitable or whatever, so you don't got to be ripping them apart. Don't do that. That's, you know, you open it up, you take it home, as far as I'm concerned. So you just put them in the bucket. You do this with all of them. Take off the extra pieces, take off the bottom part. If you can't break off the bottom part, you can saw it off with a knife. Usually they will come off reasonably easy. Stand them up in the bucket, and we'll show you what's going on next after that. You don't really need to take that part off, just that when it's standing up in the bucket, it takes less room, so you need less water to soak it. Now on the other hand, it also takes up less room on the grill, but that also provides a good handle for eating. So it's kind of 50-50. I'll do a couple with and a couple without. The real important part is pulling off all these extra leaves and pulling out that hair. That's really the important part. So we'll do that. Get the hair out of there. I got a dozen corn. Maybe I should have got a half a dozen just to test it, because sometimes they sell the corn too early, just to make some sales. And last year I remember the early corn that I bought was not very good at all. But I asked my regular farmer over there, she's a local farmer, and she said they're going to try their corn on Friday this week. So local corn is getting pretty close. She's out in Edwards, Ontario, Rochelle Farms. I buy a lot of my produce from her. Okay, her father owns the farm, and she whips the stalls. Nice lady, Vicky is her name. Let's see, so we get all of these things off of here. Pull out the hair. Gives a new meaning to pulling your hair out, eh? Right on. Remove all of that stuff. So then basically, when you get them all in there, ideally you'll have a bucket that's the right size for the amount of corn you got, so you use less water. I guess it doesn't really matter. Water is cheap. So I've got, you know, I could easily fit another half a dozen ears in there. And you're not just doing water. So I've got a jug of water here, and I've got a 1/4 cup of pickling salt, and you want to give that a good dissolve. That seems like a lot of salt. You can do it without the salt and try it. I started doing it with the salt just last year actually, and it doesn't absorb an extreme amount of salt in the corn. It's pre-salted corn. Most people prefer it that way. So if you can, you get that to dissolve in your water. That's probably about 3 to 4 liters of water that I've got there. that I'm going to pre-dissolve that into. Looks like it's dissolving well. Alright, so when that's done, I'll put my corn back here so you can see it. And it's going to take a few of those jugs. It's going to take a few of those jugs, I'm sure, to fill this up. But basically that's all you do. Alright, we got our next dose of water. That's almost going to bring it up. One more shot and we're good to go. Alright, here we go. That'll do it. You can see they're floating now, so that's quite enough. And you just leave them soak for a couple of hours like that. You can take your corn and put it right onto the grill without soaking. I've seen people do that. I've done it myself when I'm in a hurry. It works okay. I just find it works better this way. Soaking it gets water inside there, and for one thing it helps prevent the leaves from burning on the grill so you don't have a flame up, and it also, the water evaporates and it actually steams the corn in the husk, which is really nice. If you do it without that, I find it doesn't cook quite as well, or it cooks a little bit differently. And of course the addition of the salt is a really nice addition. It pre-salts the corn for you. It's really nice. Most people prefer that. Now I want to try to submerge that a little bit. Put a weight down on it to submerge it. I guess once they fill up with some water, once they get water inside there, they should be okay. What was I going to say? I've also seen people cook the corn out of the husk. They husk it and then cook it on the grill. You can do that too. It cooks it differently and you'll get more burnt. This way you can pretty much do it without burning any of the kernels, or very few of them anyway. When you put it directly on the grill the other way, I find you get a lot of scorched kernels. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Let this soak as long as you want. The longer the better, really. At least an hour would be good, but you know, you can let it soak for 4 or 5 hours if you want. Alright, I found here a regular dinner plate to weight that down and hold those things under the water. That's all I need. Let it sit, and we'll show you what happens when we throw that on the grill. Okay, you can see I arranged them. It's sizzling because the water is dripping out, of course. I've got them arranged on the top rack. I got half a dozen on there right now. And basically that's all you do. I got the 2 burners. This one doesn't work. I got these 2 burners on low, and I could cook other stuff down here in the meantime, which is what I typically do. You can have your meat going down here. Just close that up, and about a half an hour, check your first one and see if it's done. Okay, it's been about half an hour. You can see, I can smell, they're still smelling a little bit green actually. You can see they're all dried out on the surface. I would think those are still a little bit green just based on the smell I got when I opened that. So I'm going to wait I'll wait 10 more minutes and see what happens. They smell pretty green.